This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
After Party live on Wednesday, a hump day. Hello, welcome to it. Here we are, the Mark Thompson Show with John Rothman today. Long segment, but good segment. His views, while you might not agree with them, are always interesting to hear what he has to say. You can see this overhang right here, so I'm gonna try to fix it. Hold on. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. All right. Welcome to the After Party Live here on a Wednesday. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience. A lot to talk about. There are some really cool stories there. I love a good archaeological find, and they found this really interesting trove of treasures on the Egyptian coast. So we have that to talk about. Also, there are stories about some scientific stories, I should say. One of them is about genetically engineered wood. So we'll get into that. And there's an update to an animal story that I have to tell you about as well. I haven't asked you to click the like button yet, so if you could please click the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the show, please click subscribe. We are over 2,300 subscribers, inching ever so slowly toward 2,500. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but every single subscriber is a big deal, and so thank you if you could take the time to do that as well. And thank you for just being here and spending your time. I always appreciate that. I know a lot of you are doing other things, chores and whatnot, so it's nice to have you along. Wes popping in as usual with a $5 super sticker. Wes, thank you for that. Thank you for contributing to the Mark Thompson Show earlier as well. Really appreciate both of the contributions today. Kim, how are you? Hello, Trevor. Nice to see you. Hello to Gordon and Mountain Bike Fan. Hey, everybody, for being here. All right, let's move into these stories. I have an interesting story. Let's start with the sword. How about that? Look at this. How cool. It looks almost like a feather, but it's just so old and so decayed that I think that's why it looks all raggedy along the edges. But this is pretty cool. Archaeologists or archaeological research uncovered this sword, and it's got an inscription on it. They think that maybe it was used to fight the mysterious sea peoples. It is 3,200 years old, made of bronze, and it's inscribed with the name of one of the pharaohs of Egypt. It says King Ramesses II on this sword. He ruled Egypt between 1279 and 1213 BCE. It was the second longest reign in Egyptian history. They had wars with a group called the Hittites and a group of invaders called the Sea Peoples as well. So this particular sword was found near the area that could have been infiltrated by enemies. They also found not only the sword, they found 2 inscribed limestone blocks, one with hieroglyphics mentioning Ramesses II, the other with an inscription for another official. They have spiritual artifacts they've uncovered as well, including the remains of an intact cow, which was a symbol in those times for strength, abundance, and prosperity. Other cow bones found in the area as well. They found scarabs, which was a symbol of the morning sun. One of the scarabs had the inscription Amun, Lord of the Sky. Others had inscriptions celebrating various gods and flowers. They found jewelry, half a bronze ring inscribed with Amun Horakthi, necklaces. They had semi-precious carnelian stones shaped like pomegranate seeds. Here's a picture of that. You can see the scarabs here and the pomegranate seeds on the left and the middle. All of these things, again, 3,200 years old. They've been sitting there off the coast of Egypt, waiting to be found. Look at the inscriptions and the artwork and the carvings. This is fascinating to me. Holding something that someone held so long ago. All of these objects discovered among the 3,200-year-old remains of a military barrack that served as defense against the enemy invasion during what was called the New Kingdom era. They found several mud brick architectural structures that housed soldiers and weapons, and even the food that they needed to survive back then. They say it was a key military base from 1550 to 1070 BCE on what's called the Western War Road, a fort built to protect Egypt's northwest border from attacks by Libyan tribes and the Sea Peoples. The Sea Peoples, they say, are held responsible for the destruction of the Hittite Empire, but because of a sudden break in record keeping because of these invasions, the exact origin of their deeds remains unknown. A lot just based on Egyptian texts and illustrations, which are considered pretty one-sided. But this well-supplied barracks, they think that because they found that it was well-supplied, that the soldiers there might have been successful in protecting against the invasion. They're still not certain why it was abandoned by the military with so many things left behind here. Valuable things like carnelian stones and swords. But there you go. And here's the sword. Who did it belong to? Was it used in service of Ramesses II? We'll never know. So this guy went missing. This is a little capybara. Little, I say. The capybaras are the largest rodent, I believe. But this one, named Cinnamon, escaped from a British zoo, an English zoo, called the Who Zoo and Dinosaur World in Telford. They think this little guy, big guy, was camped out near a brook nearby the zoo. Cinnamon escaped the zoo grounds on Friday, got outside the perimeter fence Saturday, and was spotted on an area road. They said that, and this was yesterday, there had been no sightings of Cinnamon. They've received some useful information from local residents, though. They think that Cinnamon was likely living around the Humber Brook. So they put up a drone. And today, there was a drone sighting of Cinnamon. There it is. A picture taken from the drone. Cinnamon, it looks like, is headed back to the zoo. They saw her in a field. The zoo folks say she's not far from the zoo. They caught her in this drone camera picture about 650 feet away from her home, so she didn't go very far. But they say locating her and catching her are two very different things. So the image is good, and they know her, roundabout location. And they're optimistic that they can maybe entice her back or capture her. But they're feeling a lot more optimistic about this whole thing. That Cinnamon was born at the zoo alongside her brother Churro. She's about 1 year old. She made it to the Humber Brook River, which they call a capybara's paradise, so she can move up to 20 miles an hour when she really gets going. And there's undergrowth in this area, so they say that she can move through some pretty thick undergrowth, better than people can move through it. So that's an issue for the capture. She's also, they say, a really fantastic swimmer. So she beats the humans on all counts regarding this. So they're hoping to get her back possibly within the next 48 hours. But there's a lot of ponds and streams and food in this area. She's happily munching on grass. The drone footage caught her in this field eating all the grass. So they say getting her back might be a bit of a challenge. But these animals, capybaras, are native to South America. They are the largest living rodents in the world. This brings me to whales. Speaking of large creatures. This whale it's the Brutus whale, although it's spelled Byrde. So it looks like bird's whale, but it's pronounced Brutus whale. And researchers have uncovered something pretty interesting about this whale. It has a sound, makes a sound, that's being called a Star Trek sound. So, you know, the traditional whale songs are rather musical. This one is rather, you could say, electronic in nature. Almost sounds like something from that you would hear out of a Star Wars, you know, when they tap their chest or maybe their taser. Here's how, I think I have it. Here's how this whale sounds. You can hear that at the end. Listen to it again. It's that sound at the end. It is rather electronic sounding in nature, right? These whales are found, Brutus whales, in the central and western North Pacific. They're different from other baleen whales in that they likely feed year-round and migrate between low latitudes and mid-latitudes, and they follow their food all over the ocean. There's a study done by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and they say the more complex patterns of movement of these Brutus whales around the ocean make them a little more difficult for scientists to find. But they recorded several of the sounds that we just heard in 2014 using autonomous acoustic recordings taken near the Mariana Archipelago area near Guam. They say that they found that it's important because the whale calls travel really far underwater. So they're trying to figure out what the sound is being made for. They call it a biotwang, is the name of the whale sound. And they say that they think it's possibly some sort of Marco Polo call to figure out, to kind of pinpoint each other's location. They have to study more. They say they need more information before they can say for sure. But this team at NOAA had long-term audio recordings of parts of the Pacific Ocean going back to 2005. And so they were able to pinpoint that Brutus whales make this sort of unusual sound. And they worked with a team at Google to analyze the sound. They had this multi-species cetacean AI model analyze this large set of underwater sounds with so much noise, they say, from vessels, from animals, the moving of the ocean itself. The undersea sounds can be hard to decipher. But they say the biotwang from these whales has this low frequency component followed by this higher frequency component. And it actually sounds like the ping on the Starship Enterprise from Star Trek. This model, they say, trying to separate the sounds in the ocean. They hope that they'll be able to use it to better predict humpback whale migrations as well. Identify maybe some of the sounds that minke whales make. The noises first detected by submarines off the coast of California and Hawaii in 1950s, and those have a metallic-like ring. They call it the minke whale boing, which is interesting as well. So all these whales making different sounds. So they don't know what these whales are making this sound for exactly. All they know is that it's a different sound than any other whale makes. So the thought has been for a long time, moving to a different story, that there really are two states for human beings or for life, right? You're either living or you're dying. Two states and that's it. Or is it? There is now being proposed a third state that lies beyond the boundaries of life and death. A third state. It sounds like, what does that mean? Is the third state that spot where you see the light at the end of the tunnel when you're not quite dead, but you're not quite alive? Well, think of it in terms of other creatures. There's a growing body of research hinting at a third state that is somewhere between life and death, where the cells of a dead organism continue to function after the organism's death. It's the subject of a recent review from the University of Washington. The affiliate professor of microbiology looking into this. They say life and death are traditionally viewed as opposites. But the emergence of new multicellular life forms and the cells of a dead organism introduces a third state that lies beyond the conventional boundaries of life and death. So the research is asking this question: do our cells die when we die? And the answer, not necessarily, as evidenced by practices like organ, tissue, and cell transplantation. Under the right conditions, when provided with nutrients, oxygen, bioelectricity, or biochemical cues, certain cells can grow into multicellular organisms with new functions after death. They did a study, there was a study done in 2021, that demonstrated that skin cells taken from dead frog embryos spontaneously reorganized into multicellular organisms called xenobots. They were able to use hair-like structures called cilia to navigate their surroundings, instead of to move mucus, as is usually the case in living frog embryos. And these xenobots have been found to replicate their structure and function without growing. It's called kinematic self-replication. They had similar results with cells in human lungs, which can assemble into miniature multicellular organisms called anthrobots and move around and even repair themselves and nearby neurons. So, how all this life after death is possible, the researchers are not sure. They have one hypothesis that says specialized channels and pumps embedded in the outer membranes of cells serve as intricate electrical circuits. And those channels and pumps generate electrical signals that allow cells to communicate with each other and execute specific functions like growth and movement, shaping the structure of the organism that they form. So is there a third state then? Life, death, and the third state. Researchers say cells in a third state may potentially be engineered to solve medical problems, like serving drug delivery systems. It's a novel and exciting avenue for medical research. They say exploring survival mechanisms influenced by metabolism and environmental factors could revolutionize regenerative medicine, redefine the concept of legal death, and provide new insights into the psychological limits of life, similar to the inquiries made in embryogenesis. They've been looking at this for a long time, about 15 years. So, it's fascinating. This particular study is published in the journal Physiology. But they say that by addressing questions on the whole mystery of life and death, that could lead to groundbreaking insight into the fabric of life. Wow. I don't know what we call the third state other than the third state. Life, the third state, and then death? Is that what we're calling it? What do you think? Do you think there's a third state? I don't think it counts. Gordon says, if it does not grow, is it alive? I don't know. Teacher Lori says, yeah, this is fascinating. Pretty interesting. I think it's interesting too. So zombie cells? Kind of. Well, don't they say that when human beings die, there are certain things that continue to grow, like hair and maybe fingernails? Is that the third state? Somewhere between life and death. Isn't that called election season? Well done, Trevor in Hollywood. Well done. Murphy says, isn't that like the headless chicken who lived another 18 months? I do not know if that happened or if that is an urban myth, but that's weird. If you see the tunnel, says Gordon, you're dead. It's not that. No. P.A. Ware says, is it the third state sleep? Maybe. I don't know. Nun state. Yeah, life, nun state, death. I don't know. Mo, bringing him the science, saying kinetic momentum is different than the transition of perception and not being there to perceive. Okay, I get what you're trying to say, I think. But whether you perceive it or not, the cells are still moving and protecting themselves and repairing themselves. That has to mean something, doesn't it? I don't know. Teacher Lori says, I foresee a major problem with right to life people over this. Can't do organ transplantation or take people off life support. What if the cells are still alive? Well, right now, I think there are tests related to your brain activity that determine whether you are alive or whether you are dead. So if all brain activity ceases, even if you're on life support so that your organs can be harvested, and so biologically or physiologically your body is still functioning and your blood is still circulating to keep your organs healthy, if you have no electrical brain activity, then you are declared dead, is how I believe it works. Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah, no, good. I love the knowledge. This is excellent. B.A. We're worried too. The right to life people will start picketing morgues. The body lives, support all life. Oh, Lord, that's what we need. Here come the conspiracy theories, right? Crazy. Yeah, it's the third state. We'll see how the research goes on this. It's fascinating, though. Speaking of interesting things, though, that people are doing, how about this story about genetically engineered wood? It's something researchers are looking into. They say they've had a breakthrough in the race to create genetically engineered wood because it could totally transform the construction industry. That it's a major step. According to Innovation News Network, there are scientists at the University of Maryland who have created a form of popular wood as strong as chemically treated wood and on par with aluminum in terms of its tensile strength. They accomplished it by using base editing to affect a key genome in popular trees that deal with the production of lignin. They reintroduced the amount of lignin in these popular trees by almost 13%. And lignin is a polymer that helps stabilize the structure of cell walls in plants and aid in the transport of water and nutrients. So usually, I know this because I do it so often, usually when you engineer wood to be stronger and more durable, you scientists do it by chemically reducing the amount of lignin in the wood. The process is energy intensive. It involves the use of chemicals that could harm the environment. But by genetically removing the lignin from the wood before the trees have grown, scientists say they can reduce our reliance on harmful chemicals and further reduce the carbon footprint, I can say it, I can speak, of construction. And they think this is just the beginning. The research that was just published is being called proof of concept. Ultimately, what they say they'd like to do is expand this approach, this concept, to trees that are more relevant for us to use for building material, like pine. And they say if they can do that, economically, there could be a lot of potential there. They think it's just the beginning, a major step for them to have this result. They say they're excited to explore other trees to apply this similar technology. So we're biologically messing with these trees to create an even stronger product, and a product that would be better for the world as well. So when you start messing around with genomes and things, I tend to have questions, have worries and wonders, but I think, they're trying to do good things for the world. So here we are, genetically engineered wood. This could be what our homes, our businesses are built out of in the future. Did anybody see the supermoon last night and the partial eclipse? No? Well, good, because I have pictures to show you. As a matter of fact, why not take a look at the pictures? This rare partial lunar eclipse and supermoon last night gave us some pretty cool pictures from around the world. And so I thought that we could take a look at some of the pictures that people posted and what they saw. So let's see if I can't move this up. Oops. So here is the first one. This is a partial eclipse of the supermoon seen over Los Angeles. This is the first one right here, where my little cursor is wiggling around. That's pretty cool. Looks kind of like, if you're listening on podcast, a red ball in the sky. Here's a shot from Brandenburg, Germany. This one just looks like a close-up shot of the moon. This is a supermoon rising behind a horse statue atop the Triumphal Arch in Moscow, Russia. It's like an orangish red moon with a statue of the horse in front of it. It's a really eerie yet beautiful picture. Here's one, the rising supermoon in Nashville, Tennessee. This is a statue called the Couple at New Biggin by the Sea in Northumberland in the UK. So you can see the orange supermoon and the statue of this couple on this kind of riser looking out. This one is the supermoon over a beach in Chicago. They're playing volleyball. You can see the volleyball right underneath the moon in the way this picture is taken, because this is the lowest point of the moon, right? This supermoon's seen over Cologne, Germany. Wow. Incredible. Beautiful pictures. So there's just a little bit. If you didn't pop out last night and get to look at it, I thought maybe we could share it together today. So that's pretty cool. Love it. I wanted to show you this building in Iraq. When you think Iraq, maybe you don't think, ooh, cutting edge architecture, infrastructure. Well, they're building this massive high rise. It is the Bank of Iraq. And it's really interesting. This is the Central Bank of Iraq. It's nearing completion. A really interesting shape. It's a twisting exoskeleton frame. The building is 170 meters tall. It's now the tallest building in Iraq. The facade is framed by this exoskeleton composed of ripples that form patterns and open and closed elements. And in between, you can see the windows that they've put in between this twisting infrastructure. It was designed to mimic the light reflecting from waves on the adjacent river while shading the glazing. I have some more pictures of this to show you because I thought this was really interesting. Here's a close-up of the twisting and the windows. Yeah, cool. And here it is from far away. Doesn't look like the same building, does it? It's weird that it's smaller at the bottom and wider at the top. Here's a picture where you can see along the side those twisting windows and the twisting frame. Right along this river. I mean, this thing sticks up. This is a tall high rise. Here's another shot of it where you can see those twisting windows again. I'm fascinated by it. I mean, it's a really cool design, I have to say. Here's the inside of it, or that's where you get in. So kind of in this, looks like heavily being able to secure this thing. You walk in through this big ramp. And here's a picture of the inside of it. It's very modern, a lot of waves. You can see the windows outside. It looks kind of space agey. This is in Iraq, the Central Bank of Iraq. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. The bank is set to feature a grand atrium to draw natural light into the building and open up the space toward the river. The building's wider middle levels will have views across the city, and their podium base features a dynamic design to the tower and will contain a series of landscape terraces and gardens to engage the building with its surrounding context. This building is really cool. The design for this headquarters, they say, reflects the institution's core values of resilience, stability, and sustainability, which is mirrored by the historic importance on the river on which the Central Bank of Iraq stands. And again, it's now the tallest building in Baghdad. So there you have it. And since we're looking at interesting buildings, let's take a look at this one. This is in Brazil, where they are planning to build the world's tallest residential skyscraper. And this thing is massive. I don't know if it's something you want to do when you look at all the buildings around it. I'm going to show it to you, share the screen. It is, again, it will be Brazil's tallest skyscraper. And look at it. I mean, it just dwarfs the mountains. It dwarfs everything around it in its path. Also, I don't know, this is a residential building. I don't know if I'm feeling safe when the, windstorm comes, living on the tippy top floor of this. The concept for the Senna Tower, 500-meter tall, super tall skyscraper in Brazil, will be the nation's tallest, and it will be the tallest residential tower in the world, according to its developer. The Senna Tower is planned for the city, Balneário Camboriú, and I'm sorry if I butchered that. It's in Brazil's Santa Catarina state, which is known for its coastal skyline that has a lot of skyscrapers, and you can see them all dwarfed by the rendering of this massive residential tower. I mean, really dwarfed. Let's see if I can show you another picture of it. This thing is tall. Wow. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I mean, I'm all for a cool building. I don't know about this one. Here's another shot of this thing. Let me take down the video and show you this. Okay, so you see there's all these skyscrapers, and then you've got the Senna Tower. It's tall and skinny. Looks really skinny. And it's got this kind of sloped foot right on the shore. And it's massive. So much taller than anything in this area. A slim glass-clad tower. At its base, with a section of the facade slipping forward to create a series of terraces covered in pools and landscaping. They're going to have a racetrack encircling the podium to be part of an immersive space dedicated to Brazilian racing driver Ayrton Senna, who died at the age of 34 as a result of a driving accident. So that's what it would look like. I don't know. What do you think? Would you move in? I don't think I'm moving into that one. Here's what it looks like on the bottom with the pools. I mean, it is pretty. So you can see that sloped area toward the shore. And here's a close-up of what that would look like. You can see the pool. There's a racetrack there. There's some sloping terraces. There's more than one pool, as a matter of fact. But man, is it ever tall. I'll tell you. They say that this building reflects the race car driver's heroic journey, with the horizontal axis representative of the material and the vertical, the celestial and the ideal. They're going to have these bands of light running up the facade and around the base at the top of the tower. The light surrounding the crown will be shown to project upwards. The hero, they say, which inspired this building, is composed of flesh and bone, and thus begins from the material axis. But they seek qualities belonging to the realm of ideals, strength, skill, honor, truth. The hero embarks on a journey toward what belongs to the celestial domain, striving to reflect these non-material aspects. Eventually, say the designers, the hero sheds their mortal shell and becomes pure light to complete their journey, symbolized in the crowning of Senna Tower. Wow, that's quite the story. So at 500 meters tall, Senna Tower will contain 228 residential units, 18 of them mansions, 204 apartments, 4 duplex penthouses, and 2 mega triplex penthouses spanning 903 square meters. The amenities will be distributed over 6 floors throughout the building, and a 6,000 square meter rooftop will also contain a leisure space. It's the first super tall residential building to achieve, or that would achieve, the LEED Platinum Certification Award. It'll also be the first building in Latin America to use what they call a tuned mass damper to reduce vibrations in tall and slender buildings. And it has approval from the city hall in this area and the local planning department. So the construction is expected to begin in the second half of 2025 on this massive building in Brazil. That's so tall it makes me nervous. Like, why am I thinking of, and I know they haven't even started construction on this yet, so I shouldn't give them bad juju, but I'm thinking of the Millennium Tower in San Francisco. You build a tower that tall? I don't know. I have concerns over this one. What do you think? Are you moving in? You think it's okay? Mama says, are there really that many rich people in Brazil? Doubtful. B.A. Ware says maybe everyone will have the Jetson style cars to evacuate. Yeah, put one on every floor. I don't know if earthquakes are a big problem in Brazil, but I'm looking at that building thinking, I don't know. Heather's into it. She says, I can't wait to get rich. Sandy says the pool looks amazing. How many bathrooms, says Trevor. Right. Gordon says, what's the point of making it so skinny? Maybe that's the space they had to fill. I don't know. Liz says, imagine if the power goes out. You'd have to take the stairs down to exit. That's a long ass way down. I'm telling you. Maybe they'll have like some other type of contraption to get you out of there. Nope. Liz says, nope. Not doing it. Mo says you should look at the approval they just gave Berkeley in California for the building they want to put up that'll be the tallest in that city. Oh, thank you for the tip. I'll check it out. I was not aware of it. Oh, Viewfinder says tube-like chutes that you would jump in and then slide down like a water slide without the water. You don't want a crowd going down at the same time. They'd have to. B.A. Ware says earthquakes with magnitudes greater than 5 are rare in Brazil. They happen about every 5 years. Good information. Thank you. Yeah, I thought that was interesting that this was the plan. We talked yesterday about plastic in the brain. Yeah. I have another uplifting plastic story for you. And this is about the ways in which we get these microplastics into our bodies. And sadly, it looks like food packaging plays a bigger role than we thought. Here's a picture of little microplastics. But now we know, because we talked yesterday about where they're being found, right? Microplastics found in our brain tissue. Possibly we smell it in, being lodged through our olfactory openings. But a new study shows many toxic chemicals enter the body via food packaging. The plastic wrap that you find around your food. A new study shows more than 3,600 chemicals leach into food during the packaging process. Of that number, 79 chemicals are known to cause cancer, genetic mutations, endocrine and reproductive issues. This research done by a team of international researchers reported this week in the Journal of Exposure, Science, and Environmental Epidemiology. They were shocked. They say this is a staggering number, and it shows that food contact materials are a significant source of chemicals in humans. That from a professor of biology at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. The research done is an effort to establish the link between food contact chemicals, human exposure, highlighting chemicals overlooked in biomonitoring studies, and supporting research into making these food contact materials safer. And so this study, they say, is the first to systematically link the chemicals that we use in materials to package and process foods to human exposure. And while all of these food packages and materials may comply with government regulations, the study shows these chemicals may not be completely safe. Makes the farmers market look pretty good about now, right? Yikes. They say they don't know the exact amount of these chemicals that's been used in food packaging or other food contact materials versus the amount that maybe would be used in cosmetics or personal care products, textiles, and so on and so forth. So they wanted to look into that information as well. And then at the end of all this, maybe make a scientific regulatory requirement for companies to declare how much and what type of the chemicals that they are putting into food or to the plastic water bottles or to the packaging. So it's interesting. A lot more chemicals than we thought. I'll look at plastic wrap differently now, I think. I'm sorry, I brought the party down with that. Can we talk about this triple foldable phone? This was released by Huawei. They say it's the ultimate design and it's been crafted with excellence. And it reminds me of one of these cards that maybe you get for your birthday that folds out. I don't know. I know a lot of people watch movies on their phones, maybe want a bigger screen at some points. I mean, I'm a fan of a bigger phone screen, but I don't know why you would need this. And here's a picture of it. You fold it into 3 separate sections. See that? It's got like it's almost like 3 phone screens in one. And then you can pull it apart to create this big old screen. Okay. I don't know why we need this. I think the phone that we have is fine, but I know there's a constant effort to, recreate, to re-engineer the phone for people so that everyone has to have a new one, the new thing. Here's what it looks like when you fold it out. So there's the process of the unfolding happening. And here's what it looks like on the other side when you actually get it open. And the screen it's bigger, it's nice. It's almost like it folds out into a big tablet kind of situation. So you fold it up tight for a phone to stick in your pocket or your purse, and then you unfold it, and then you have your big tablet. Like a tablet, or it almost looks like a newspaper that you're carrying around with you. This triple foldable phone is 3,000 pixels. When unfolded, the screen is 10.2 inches. It's, they say, cinema level immersive viewing with a screen ratio of 16:11. It switches automatically between single, dual, and triple screen modes as the screen unfolds, with a dual screen mode offering about the square proportions of the fully unfolded device operating like a tablet. To do this, Huawei said they developed a hinge system that uses 2 tracks working in tandem to enable both inward and outward folds. It has 26 precision cameras that facilitate smooth opening and closing with or cams, they call them, 26 cams, with components made from strengthened steel to ensure the durability of this phone. You like it? What do you think? The screen's composite laminated structure provides strength despite the thinness of the phone, and the inner fold resisting compression, the outer fold resists tension. They say this is a great phone in the fully unfolded mode to include reading books and magazines with double page spreads or using email and apps just like you would on a tablet. It has 4 cameras, one with a 10-stop variable aperture telephoto lens to allow you to control how much light enters the camera. Ultimate Design is Huawei's premium label. The phone, they say, incorporates crafted elements using layered steel construction visible along the case edge and the octagonal camera surround. The back is either wrapped in red or black leather inlaid with the Ultimate Design logo type in gold to match the finish of the components there. It's interesting looking. The other companies were also looking at these unfoldable phones or foldable phones. Samsung was looking at doing one. They had to delay its release because of reports of screens breaking during use. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not saying no to it. I'm just saying I don't necessarily need it. Ricky O'Bear says yes to this. Mo says this is great. You guys want to know if this is an Android operating system? I would think yes, because I think any operating system that isn't Apple is considered Android, but I know that Android is the Google operating system. So I'm not sure. Let me look and see if they haven't said what the operating system is. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry. I can look into it and get back to you. But I don't think that's listed here. Yeah. Just that it's a flexible OLED touchscreen hinged in 2 directions. So, yeah. No word on what the operating system would be. But John says, these folding things remind me of maps. At some point, I'm going to have a hard time folding them back up. Let's hope not. I know sometimes maps are really hard to fold. Gordon says Android, yes, because it's not an Apple. I don't know. B.A. Ware says, betcha I can't lift a picture off that with my silly putty. Nope, not like the old newspapers. Ricky says, rarely do I have the newest, but this one I like. Well, for people that have trouble maybe reading the smaller text on a phone, or that like to watch videos on their phone, maybe the YouTube shows or whatnot, this could be something really cool. They don't have a price yet that's listed. I don't know. Teacher Lori says, we can Google this ourselves. Huawei. How do you spell that? She says. It's Huawei. It's a Chinese tech giant. Huawei. Huawei. And the phone is called the Mate XT Ultimate Design Smartphone. Mate, M-A-T-E, XT Ultimate Design Smartphone. So, again, I don't know when this thing is coming out, this triple foldable phone, but I thought it was interesting enough to show you. And I think something like this could be pretty popular. I don't know. Mimi says, this is promising. B.A. Ware says, when I turned 49, my arms were no longer long enough to read my phone without glasses. Oh, no. Rev says it's pronounced Huawei. Huawei? Is it? Okay, if you say so. I love how you're laughing at me, Rev. That's fine. I'll take the correction. Huawei. Viewfinder says it's also Huawei. Viewfinder, oh, Huawei. Okay. Mo says Huawei has been banned in the United States because of built-in spyware. Karen wonders, and I wonder this myself, when do we stop calling this a phone? Because it's really a computer. People don't really use the phone function that much anymore, right? Think about what you mostly do with your phone. it's likely not the phone portion of the phone, but now we just call it the phone. I don't know. $3,000 says teacher Lori. Nope. Walnut Creek Adult Software says it's actually closer to a $6,000 price tag. Wow. That's crazy. Well, I think it'll be a while. Mod says it'll go down. Just wait. Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting design, though. An interesting look at what's coming, because I don't think they will be the only company that will design something like this. And I'm sure Apple is looking at this going, we already do a tablet and we already do a phone. We could do this. I'm sure there are technical hurdles to overcome, but it is a cool looking thing. You can buy a phone and tablet at the same time. I think a lot of people would shell out the money. Yeah. Gordon's like, no, too much. BA Ware says 3K, let alone 6K, no can do. Not going to do that. Yeah, expensive, but I'm sure there are a lot of people that will actually go for it. So I know we're past our time together, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here. Thank you to Wes for the $5 super sticker, and to Mars, who's thrown down a $5 super sticker as well. Huge, huge thank you, you guys. You're awesome. Really touches my heart that you guys support the show and that you want to keep it going. So maybe you can't afford a $3,000 or $6,000 phone, but you can throw $5 at the after party live, and I really appreciate that very much. Thank you for being here. I hope you'll join me tomorrow. The Mark Thompson Show does feature former federal prosecutor, now defense attorney, David Katz. So we will talk to David Katz tomorrow. I'm working on getting my old KGO talk show host friend, Turi Ryder, to come on the show, and she said that she'll be able to do that. We're kind of hammering out the time. So likely Turi Ryder will be on the show, but again, that's all still in discussion. And then tomorrow is also the Nikki Maduro show, live at 5, where we have cocktails, mocktails, and politics. So that's on Thursday as well. I hope you'll join me for Trivia Thursday. And I hope you have a really great day. Again, thank you for being here and for all the discussion. I enjoy talking to you guys every afternoon, and I hope you do as well. Go out there and make it a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Dora, thank you. She writes, hope you're well, Kim. First show in a while. Been busy with a $10 super sticker. Thank you, Dora. Huge love. All right, I've been switching around from song to song, but it looks like you guys like this one. It's called Into Space. So this will be the new exit music. I think we've settled on one. Nice. Bye, you guys. Thank you. Love you.